Hi everyone and welcome to today's episode. Today I am thrilled to be joined by Karina Gabidullina. Karina is the Vice President of Sales at a large corporation, a devoted mum, wife and passionate about making the world a better place. Because who says you can't spread joy whilst finding your zen at the same time? Have you ever felt the pressure to adapt or, change aspects of yourself to fit into a workplace culture, and how have you navigated that?
Yes, one big moment when I felt, oh wow, that's interesting, was when I asked for mentorship advice from one senior, and she told, look, Karina, in order to fit here, you need to behave like a man.
How do you maintain confidence in spaces where you may feel like actually you're the only one, whether that's due to background or language or even cultural perspective?
First of all, you need to understand who you are. In order to be yourself, you need to understand who this yourself.
If you could actually go back and give your younger self one piece of advice about authenticity and balance, what would it be?
If you don't understand who you are, then it's very hard to be authentic.
Hi everyone and welcome to today's episode. Today I am thrilled to be joined by Karina Gabidullina. Karina is the Vice President of Sales at a large corporation, a devoted mum, wife and passionate about making the world a better place. She loves hosting friends and cooking for a crowd, all whilst in the pursuit of that elusive balance between work life and home life. Because who says you can't spread joy whilst finding your zen at the same time? Karina is an expert in building teams that deliver and cultures that last. Karina is passionate about creating environments where people thrive, customers succeed, and businesses grow. Karina is also passionate about mentoring and helping people grow, pushing them to achieve more than they thought was possible. Today, we'll explore what it takes to stay true to yourself in the workplace, the challenges of adapting to a new culture and finding the balance, and how Karina has carved out her own path, all whilst empowering others to do the same. Hi Karina, thank you so much for joining me today. So pleased to be talking to you.
Yes, wow, that's quite an introduction. I don't think we need to do anything after that.
Oh, that's hilarious. Well, I know I have given an introduction, but I'm sure there's a bit more that you can just add a bit more color. So could you just start by telling everyone a bit more about your journey so far and just a bit more about yourself?
Sure. And thank you so much. I pretty enjoyed the parts of the introduction, especially about the cooking bits, because yes, indeed, I do love having guests over and having as many people around as possible. So yes, hi everyone. Really looking forward to this conversation. I'm very excited. We were talking to the solo before. That's something, the topics are very close to my heart because I was born in Russia, in the middle, somewhere very far. To go to the closest city, you had to travel by car about 3 hours. Oh. You needed to fly 2.5 hours just to get to Moscow, let alone Europe. So I didn't even know where it is at that time. So yes, and that's why for me my journey was so exciting, because now I'm based in London. I'm working in the global corporates, and I absolutely love the life that I'm living. And yes, the path was not easy because you have to adapt, you have to change. I have quite a crazy personal life because my husband is French. We have a little son who speaks 3 languages. So it's quite fun and messy, but I do enjoy it.
Amazing. Sorry, I have to ask, have you learnt to speak French then? Can you speak French?
Oh, that's a very painful conversation now. I do speak French, but my husband doesn't speak Russian, and that's what I show off all the time. And our son considers himself French, English, Russian all together, and he's now decided that he's becoming Italian as well because he starts learning Italian.
Oh my goodness. So soon you'll be speaking Italian too then. Truly,
Sure.
truly multilingual. Amazing. So you did touch on, you came from a small town in Russia. So your career actually spans across continents from Russia to the UK. How did moving country really shape your sense of identity, both personally and professionally?
Oh God, that's for sure. It has changed a lot. I remember when I first came here to the UK, the biggest difficulty you would never believe was making a small talk. That is not what us Russians or French. My husband had the same trouble. I used to, or Because for the subjects, for the topics, it's even hard to understand what we are supposed to do for these 2 meetings. We go usually straight to the business. Or, for example, the finance bits also was when someone asked you just casually, hey, how are you? I was giving the full answer.
Rather than just that, I'm good.
Yes. No, it's still, even now, I'm posing myself and thinking, how am I actually? Now, I'm not giving the full answer, but at least that gives me the opportunity to think a little bit
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
But jokes aside, it definitely was not an easy part for me, because you need to adapt. You need to adapt to a completely different culture. And the danger here is that you try too far, too much. You go too far with them, with your approach. And that's what I was always struggling with. Where is this balance? Where is this border where you stop, where you keep your personality, you try to be yourself, but then at the same time, you need to adapt and be accepted by the majority in the country. That's the difficult choice.
Yeah, yeah, it's hard. It can be hard, especially because I, it's slightly different. I didn't necessarily, travel to the UK. I was born in the UK, but even just hearing you say that, it reminds me when I started my career in in a graduate program, and I didn't really necessarily see people that looked like me, and so you want to kind of assimilate or get along with people or be liked by people, but whilst being yourself. And I think that took me a while, so it feels like people experience these things but in different facets, which is yeah.
Absolutely. And the difficulties that I faced, for sure, they could be similar, because you want to even maybe to bond with people even on personal side, right? There was a moment when I was trying to understand what football is.
Yeah, yeah.
Because all the senior professionals in my group where I was working, all of them were big fans of football, and most of the small talks, big talks, any talks were related to football. And it's very hard because you're sitting there, you are different, and definitely I couldn't hold the conversation more than 1 minute about football. So that's the difficult bit for sure.
Yeah, I connect with you on that because it's trying to find that common ground. That's why I don't know if you've noticed this. A lot of the time, or sometimes, it defaults to how's the weather? Oh, what's the weather like today? And it's just, I don't know, strange. But yeah. Um,
Agree.
yeah. So, have you ever felt the pressure to adapt or, change aspects of yourself to fit into a workplace culture? And how have you navigated that?
Yes. One big moment when I felt, oh wow, that's interesting, was when I asked for mentorship advice from one senior executive. She's female, and we spent about 30 minutes just talking about career, life, and so on. And she was quite high up in the company I was working. And she thought, look, Karina, in order to fit here, you need to behave like a man. You need to speak like a man, and you need to you shouldn't show your weakness. And at that time, I was just at the beginning of my career, and I was like, oh my God, is that how I'm supposed to be? But I'm not. Definitely not. And then that's kind of shaken me. With time, I understood that that was not the right advice for sure, and I would not give this advice now going forward. But at that time, it's kind of like surprised me, and I tried to behave, to change the way I dress. So I tried to be very, very formal, because to become a senior leader, you need to dress in a particular way. Or also, of course, you could hear, everyone could hear my Russian accent, and that was quite a lot of moments when I felt, oh, I need to change it. When people were laughing at the way I was pronouncing certain words, I would not. I remember the moments when my management were laughing. Oh, Karina is saying the words ego instead of ego, or vice versa. I still didn't figure out how to pronounce
Yeah.
it
I have
in
to
the
ask,
right.
did that make you feel any type of way or a sense of awkward or uncomfortable?
Very, very
Yeah.
much so, because you are hoping that it would be about what you say, not exactly how you say it.
Mm.
And uh, I was thinking that as long as people can understand what you say, then it's fine. But then getting to some groups which were majority of the certain nationality or native English speakers, that was harder for me because there were a lot of jokes about it. And at the beginning, I struggled with that because, yes, indeed, you don't want to spend the whole bonding experience joking how you pronounce the words ego or ego, or I don't know, joking about the KGB.
Yeah, okay.
So that was a bit tough for sure, especially early in your career when you're not certain who you are, right? That's the difficulty, and that's the danger of all these jokes about of putting attention how what is the accent of someone, because with my husband he had the same story. He speaks French. It's quite easy to laugh at the French accent quite often. So that's something him and a lot of my friends have experienced. It's not career destroying, of course, but it just makes you feel a little bit less comfortable about who you are.
Yeah, very. I think very inappropriate. That, like you said, it might not be career destroying, but it's still something that someone remembers or stays with them. It reminds me of like when you grow up in school, and they say kids can be cruel. So, but when you're a kid, maybe you don't know better. But once you move into the workplace, you would think people do. So,
It's not because people are angry
yeah.
or they want to make you feel bad. It's just they don't understand that it makes you feel bad. That's all,
Yeah.
really, in most of cases. But that's why those conversations are so important,
Yeah.
because you can bring awareness. Because I'm quite vocal, so I was telling back and telling, look, that's not good. That's not cool. People were surprised, and
Good.
with time they were changing this attitude. So it's not it's not that bad, but you need to be able to distinguish who you are, to understand what to do and how to say and how to push back and explain.
Yeah, yeah. And I just have to ask you, I know you the advice that a mentor gave you early in your career, and you mentioned that you started to dress, or you dressed a bit different. Did you try to adapt your personality also for a
Of
period of time? How did you find that?
Of course,
Yeah.
I was trying to. So I was changing in terms of trying not to show my emotions. I am quite open. You can see, bubbly, giggly type of person. So then I thought, okay, the senior executive cannot be that. You can't. You should be serious in a suit, and you should speak in a particular way. I try to take the elocution lessons. That's the lessons for the fellow native speakers. That's lessons in order to learn how to speak like a British person.
How did that go?
Boy, it's a lot of efforts.
Mm,
And then I thought, I started feeling with time that I'm losing my personality. I'm losing myself with the elocution lessons, because I start speaking differently, not the way I do. Normally, I started dressing differently. I started speaking less, because when you're not comfortable, when you're trying to change who you are, then you just don't want to express yourself, because you can't express yourself the way you are normally. And that's when I caught myself on that, and that was the turning moment, probably for me, when I decided, no,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
will have to be myself. If I want to be a leader, I want to be a leader that people trust, believe, and understand. And no one would follow the machine. If you are just like a robot who is trying to be like someone else, who would want to follow your lead, your guide? No one. That was the moment when I was like, that's it.
Yeah, interesting. As you were saying that, I was just thinking though, it's almost like sometimes we have to go through it first to realize, no, this just doesn't work. I'm going to revert and be myself.
100%.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's not okay. Of course, it's not one day when I just woke up and realized that, but there were a series of events when I was like, okay, yes, I can see people react to me better when it's me. And that's when I decided I'll show who I am and then see how it goes.
And it
Went
probably,
okay.
yeah.
Spoiler, it went okay.
Well, it's done very well for you. You're the vice president of sales at a very large corporation, may I say. So it's worked very well being yourself. But yeah, how do we've spoken a bit about, when you moved to the UK and some of the things you experienced about people maybe talking about the way you speak, or how do you maintain confidence in spaces where you may feel like actually you're the only one, whether that's due to background or language or even cultural perspective?
It's the balance for me. Of course, you need, first of all, you need to understand who you are. In order to be yourself, you need to understand who this yourself is,
Yeah.
right? So for me, the way I do it was about a lot of introspective thinking, meditation, reading books about this, right? And trying to be as authentic as possible. And then I kind of found myself. Who am I? What am I comfortable with? And then once you know that, once you know um, all your values, all your what you really care about in life, that from then all your decisions, all your behaviors, everything would follow this specific path, right? Because you would just know this is who am I, that's what I do. But at the same time, you need to be able to adapt to the outside world. You cannot just be okay, I don't care. That's me. Take me as I am. No, you need to understand that you are the guest in this country. That you need to learn how to do the small talk,
Yeah.
and that you need not to give your whole story of your life when someone asks how are you. So yes, it is the balance for me.
Yeah, yeah. And you've talked a lot about balance there. Why is that, and what is balance for you?
Oh, that's something that I think a lot about. I write a lot about because for me, the balance is such a thing that you can definitely achieve it and you can maintain it, but it's changing all the time, and you need to find a way how to find your balance at any given moment, because it's very simple, right? As a mother, as a wife, as a person working for the company, right? I need to find these moments. I do travel like crazy. I travel every other week. I would go somewhere to the business trip, and that is kind of difficult balance to find with the family, right? I have a 7 years old son who had a birthday yesterday, and for his birthday wish, he told, my only wish was to that my mommy would be with me always. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh, that's so nice.
that's lovely.
I know, and but then at the same time, for me, it's so important because at work, it's not just my career. I'm able to open up more opportunities for people. So I find myself very responsible for that. So I cannot just be a mommy, right? I want to change the world, like you said at the very beginning. Not very good at cleaning the oceans, but I think I can change the world where I am at work. So constantly searching for balance there, or at work as a leader, it's not just a female leader, any leader. You need to find what is it, what can you, what should be your style, how it should be responding to what's the current moment requires, right? So sometimes you need to put a little bit more structure, pressure, and implement changes because you need this team to get to success. But at the same time, I absolutely do not want to lose individuality in that, because that's the future team, the future company I'm trying to create, I try to hire individuals. I want to try to hire many different people of different nationalities, backgrounds, everything. If you would see my group, you would be like, oh wow, you have, I don't know. I need to count the number of languages we speak, but that would be definitely above 50. So it's crazy, and that's that balance of trying to organize the diverse team of people of different backgrounds and different ways of working, of course, but at the same time get everyone to the results. So it's a very long answer, but for me, that's the balance. It's always, you need to think every day pretty much, what is my balance for me today, for my work, for my family? How does it look today? It would be different to the balance I have tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. Do you know that, by the way, just talking about your team setup there really is strength, by the way, in diversity in culture and thought. Very so much strength. And you touched on there about you need to find your, you were talking about management and finding your style. How have you done that? Has that just come over time?
It's time. Yes, you can. It's definitely with time you are getting better at it. But I don't like to let anything to chances. You know, as you can probably notice. So it's a lot of internal work. Someone literally a couple of days ago, I think, someone told me, you know what? One of the reasons I want to be a manager is because that pushes me to do a lot of introspective work every day as well, because you work with people, you want to get them to success, and you need to be able to adapt to different ways, because the way I operate would not be the same the way you operate. And to lead you to success, I need to know what success looks like for you, what success looks like for me, how to communicate and combine those two successes, and how to help you get in there. That's the most incredible job in the world, because that makes you grow, right, together with your team. And that's why it's yes, it's hard to have such a diverse team, but at the same time it's so fantastic, the ideas, the approaches of people from so many different countries. They create such a synergy. We are successful in terms of the numbers, but the reason is because of the people.
Amazing, amazing. People need to be aware of that. Honestly, the strength, as I say, the strength of having such a diverse team. I just think people bring different thought processes, different ideas, different ways of thinking. It's important.
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
But I understand at the same time why for leaders it's much easier to hire the little versions of yourself, right? Because you know how to deal with them. But it's just not better. That's a trap that we should avoid in order to create this environment that will help other people grow, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And so you have experienced a lot through your career, as we've spoken about. If you could actually go back and give your younger self one piece of advice about authenticity and balance, what would it be?
Wow, that's that's a deep question. Um, I think try to understand yourself as early as possible. Because one thing, I was watching a series Girls. I don't know if you know it. I started watching this, and I was like, I really do not want to go back to my 20s.
Really? That's not,
Because the early 20s, that was the time when I didn't understand who I am, and it's such difficult. That's the worst for me, I think. If you don't understand who you are, then it's very hard to be authentic, because how could you be authentic if you don't know what you identify with, right?
yeah.
So just to spend a bit more time understanding yourself. That's how you will understand the world. If you get inside, you will get what's outside. I do a lot of mindfulness meditation now. If I would get to it a lot earlier, that would help me to find this comfort, this balance between, going for the stars, and I was ambitious and wanted to sell as much as possible, but that didn't give me the happiness I wanted because it was not balanced. Just being comfortable with who you are, where you are, and being happy. So that's probably the advice. Just spend more time
Yeah,
on
balance.
yourself.
Yeah, balance is the key theme. But I think conversations like this are so important because it might sound crazy, but when you're in your 20s, going through your 20s, I don't think most people realize that they don't know themselves. You're just going through life and
Exactly.
yeah, you just don't even realize it.
Exactly that. That's why I'm happy to share, because I have already went through this path, and I'm happy because it taught me a lot, and I learned and I grown. But if I can help the others, and in my one-to-ones, and my team, they probably would watch it. They would not. They would agree. Oh, you
Oh
see
my
my.
God. Oh,
That's my phone agreeing with me.
oh,
In our one-to-ones, we do spend a lot of time on understanding what we are. Even if we need to speak about deals, we need to speak about a lot of other things, but I do spend a lot of time just helping the people in my team to get there, to understand a little bit more, to understand their motivations, why they want to do this step or another, and it helps, and that's why I'm happy. It's these interviews like here, it's everyday work, everything could help as long as you just communicate, and that's what I'm trying to do.
yeah, it's good to hear that you do that in your one-to-ones because I feel like there can often be that tendency just to talk about the work, how are the deals going? What have you closed? What's coming up? Rather than those peripheral aspects that will impact how somebody performs.
Absolutely, that's the best type of conversations. You can talk about, you can check the forecast in the Salesforce or whatever system you have. That's very simple, but to understand deeply what motivates the person, you can do it just in the conversation. When you have your time, you have your cup of tea. Look, very very English. Have the cup of tea
Can't go wrong with
and
that.
talk and talk.
Yep, yep. And does that then also feed into how you manage individuals quite a lot?
Yes, 100%. You mentioned before that I'm very much into mentoring and trying uh, to develop the people that are within my team. But uh, it's quite selfish as well, to be honest, because when you mentor someone, they mentor you as much. They give you so much back. You have no idea, because they uh, the perspective, the angle they would look at something. And sometimes I ask the question, because with this question that I mentioned, this comment that I mentioned, that the person told, oh, I want to be a leader because you grow. I didn't think about it at that time, but that was the person with whom we were talking about potentially getting into leadership. And that taught me a lot. I was like, oh, wow, yes, that's why I like it. So, yes, that's why, of course, it's everyday job is to try to make sure that everyone grows, gets where they want to be, and that I can help. And I'm very, very pleased with that. That's my motto, right? I want to make the world better, and self growth is one of my big values. So if I can help others to achieve this self growth, then I'm happy.
Yeah. That's interesting. I like that it's almost like reverse mentoring, but without them knowing. They don't
Yes.
realize they're teaching. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
100%. I'm very lucky. I was thinking about the reverse mentoring, and when I was, someone told me this about a couple of months ago, and I was like, "Oh, interesting concept, reverse mentoring. I need to ask someone." But then I thought, "Oh, I have at least 6 people that reverse mentor me on the weekly basis, so I'm good."
Yeah. It's interesting we're having this conversation. Genuinely speaking, I only just heard about reverse mentoring about 2 months ago. And
Mm.
yeah, and it was more from the perspective of interns and grads doing like or graduates doing a panel about certain topics that those in the business would want to hear about, because they have a perspective too. So even whether it's leadership to those they manage or the younger generation coming through, there's something that everyone can learn from somebody.
Absolutely. And that goes back to the diversity and authenticity, because everyone has an interesting perspective. It's just your job as a leader to get this, to make it blossom, and to make them feel comfortable to be themselves and to share this different perspective. That's all. But
Yeah.
everyone has something to bring to the team, to the company, to the world. You just need to find it.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And so I'm sure there are many, but what is one accomplishment you are most proud of and why? And
um,
you don't have to be humble, Karina. Let us know.
Not. It's okay. No, to be honest, for me, the accomplishment for me is that I feel happy. Really, it sounds cheesy and a bit silly, maybe, but if I manage to find the balance for myself with doing all the different things, sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I'm in the hotel in the country, I don't know why I'm there and what am I doing. Sometimes I miss my son, my husband, but then when I see them, it's getting so exciting. And sometimes at work, oh, a lot of times at work, I feel nothing is working. Like nothing is working. Everything goes wrong. I do not want to do. Why do I do this? Let me go. Can I go in my bed? But then because I understood what I want, what is my mission in life, and what I want to achieve for me, for the world, for my family, I'm happy. I have this balance. I am constantly searching for it, of course, but because I'm happy, I can help other people get happy. So if you have a miserable boss that is not happy in life, doesn't know what they do, and so on, this boss cannot help you grow. And me, I can, because I'm in balance myself. So probably that.
Yeah, amazing. Do you know what? It sounds so simple and yet not so, it's not so simple, because to get to that place of happiness, I always think as well, it's an ongoing journey. It's not like an end
Oh,
destination.
of
So,
course,
mm.
of course.
You mentioned just there actually about sometimes things are going wrong or things might be difficult, and you go back to what your mission is. And
Yes.
also earlier, you touched on knowing what your values are. Are these things that you have gone out of your way to try and understand what they are, or you've just learnt them as you've gone through life and your career?
No, 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 no. I worked myself with many coaches, not even provided by the company. I do myself a lot of reading on this. I do many books. Yes, and you doubt yourself still. I mean, right now, I am in quite a situation when I don't understand what is good for me, what is the right way, because I want, on one hand, I want to bring the team to be very, very successful. So I need to put the pressure a little bit higher. But then at the same time, how can I make everyone to be comfortable with this pressure and to take everyone on the road, on the journey? So it's it's a constant work. It's reading, it's coaching, it's talking to your family, etc. It's yeah, it can't just come. The values, you need to really, really, really work on them, and they might slightly change periods, etc. with time. So that's important. So I didn't stop. Also, I'm very clear what I want, what my values are, what my mission is, but who knows, maybe it would be slightly different in a couple of years.
Yeah, I've recently learnt more and more about the importance of coaches, but mine has been because there's certain areas where I've found challenging, and people have recommended, oh, get a coach for that, because they can span across different
Yeah,
aspects of your personal and professional life, right? So,
It's about asking right questions.
Mm.
Therapy, I have done quite a long time. I have been in therapy as well. Not that anything is wrong with me, but it's actually just to have it right. And again, having personal therapy that helps your personal life. Indeed, of course, my husband finds a more balanced wife, 100%. But it helps the professional too. So everything is intertwined, and it's a lot of work on yourself, self-understanding and
Mm.
self-growth.
Yeah, I'm definitely an advocate for therapy as well. And I like that people are more comfortable and becoming more open about speaking about the fact that they're doing it and how it helps them. Yeah.
It's like hygiene.
Yeah.
You have the physical hygiene. You need to take your shower in order to maintain your physical body. That's exactly the same. You need to be able to maintain your inner body, your mental health, and I speak a lot about it from the stage as well because it matters.
Yeah, it absolutely does. It absolutely does. And so, how do you hope your work and accomplishments inspire others, especially young girls and women?
I don't want to be an inspiration. No, no, that's
You're
that's
so
too
humble.
big of a job to measure. Karina, now wake up, go and inspire someone today.
But you do it through the way
But
you live, though. I feel like one does it through the way, maybe the way they live or the things that they, I don't know,
yes.
yeah, or yeah.
And that's exactly it. So for me, I just want to live my life. I want to show that the balance is possible. That, there is a wheel of balance where you map all your different, like where you are from 0 to 10 at your family life, where you are 0 to 10 at your work, career life, money life, and so on. And what I strongly believe is that it's possible to have all tens or maybe nines somewhere, but all tens in all the nine, I think, aspects of your life. And it's not about inspiration, it's just I want to bring this belief to people. You can be good everywhere and happy everywhere. Yes, there are days when you will be bad, there would be days when everything falls, like we discussed, but all in all, you could be. And that's what I want. And that's why I consider my career important. It's not just because, oh, Karina will go and get some title. Titles are nice, but then what do you do with them? Do you really care? No. What is important is that the further, the higher I go, the more people I am exposed to with my truth. Almost like a messy. It sounds a bit much as well, but it's true. The bigger my group is, the bigger my impact is, and that's when I can build the teams that I think are successful, these diverse teams, these teams that are different. And again, if I would be the CEO of the company one day, hopefully, let's see, but that means that I could create a company. Now I'm creating a group of the diverse people because I'm responsible for a region, but then going further, the higher I am, the bigger it is. And I can create this company of the future, maybe. Let's see.
Yeah. Do you know what you touched about that balance, Will, the will balance? It reminded me of the question, when they say, can you have it all?
Yes,
Yeah. And so I'm guessing,
100%.
yeah. I was going to ask, based on what you're saying, I feel like your answer would be yes, you can have it all.
Absolutely. I do not agree with the sacrifice. I do not agree. That's doesn't sit with me, never did. Why not? Why should you sacrifice? Yes, you have limited time. Yes, the balance would change. Yes, there are days when I do not see my family because I'm somewhere on business trip. But another day when I'm here with them, I give them absolutely 100% of my time and attention. That's it.
Mm.
It's for me, it's very simple. You can always find this right balance so you can have it all.
Yeah, yeah. And what was nice to hear you talk about there as well is, people do get caught up in titles sometimes when we're going through our careers. It's just, you see that time and time again. But what must probably be more satisfying is when you genuinely within yourself move past that and see the bigger mission, which, based on what you're saying, is making a bigger impact.
Yes, 100%. Because if you focus on the title, then you do not, you lose the connection. That's it. It's gone, because title is just a funny name to whatever job you're doing. Who cares? And maybe I'm lucky because I come from another country, so the director or the vice president doesn't say anything to me. It's just the words of the foreign language that you have, right? But if it starts giving you a meaning, then when it's the problem becomes, because that distances you from someone that you work with, and then you can't really help them and lead them to the right, to where they want to be.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And so we've touched on this slightly, or you've touched on this slightly, but what is next for you, and how do you really see your work contributing to the future progress in your field?
I I want to do more. Of course, you can't always do everything, and there should be steps. There was one moment, it's funny, about the balance. So there is one charity that I absolutely loved the concept. It's about mentoring the younger girls coming from less like privileged backgrounds, right? Is to help them to get to the career, because I believe in the charity work. What I believe is not giving the money to people; it's giving them the knowledge, the power, the understanding, because that's what would drive people further. And I was so excited. I went through the interview, and I wanted to do this. And then my husband was like, "Are you joking, Karina, right now?"
Is it because of how busy you are? I
Yes.
knew you were going to say that.
He was like, "You are going on the business trips now. You are doing this and that and that. You're mentoring people within your job. We are taking a puppy right now. We have a very nice puppy, by the way.
My
We
goodness.
are taking a puppy right now. We have a son. And look, I'm all in for helping, but can you do it when you're retired?" And I understand that. He was right, and that's why I paused on that. That's where I would go for sure in the future. I would want to do more, because right now my area of impact is within my company, and for now it is there. But I'm slowly starting open up to help more people to grow and develop themselves. Because again, the values is all about self development, growth, right? But uh, for now, I want to maintain this ability to help people individually and to be able to mentor people individually. With time, now I'm trying to learn how to expand without expanding, stretching yourself too much. So that's the probably learning curve that I'm going through now. How to have more influence, impact, grander scheme, but without putting too much stretch on the existing life. I'll find the answer. I promise you. I tell you that. But let's see.
Yeah, I have to say, whoever's managed by you, they're very lucky to be managed by
Oh,
you. Just because it
let's
makes.
check with them.
Yeah, yeah, we'll do a poll feedback. But no, because it's I've said this through some of my other conversations. Your manager can honestly make or break your
For
experience.
sure.
And if you are lucky to have one that not only they're a good manager, but genuinely has an additional care or wants to get the best out of you or wants to push you, or will advocate for you. You can't really put a price on these things when it comes to your career. Yeah. And I always say, if you've got if you get a good manager like that, take advantage of it, but in the best way possible, because you don't get to always pick your manager. So yeah, yeah, you're lucky.
No, yes, and but it's not always rosy. It's not very
Yeah.
easy, right? So I'm trying to find my balance myself, because success is one of my other values, right? It's self growth and success connected. So I am pushing, and I push myself, and I push my teams, because I want to achieve this success. I want to grow, and everyone to be happy with their growth. It's not a very easy. If you want to be in a comfort zone, I'm not the person to manage.
Oh, really? If your team had to describe you in 2 words, what do you think they would be?
Oh, that would be interesting. I don't definitely, well, hate comfort zone. That would be one. Like as we are talking, but I would hope that that would be to that person that cares and wants everyone to succeed.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Karina. I have loved this conversation. It has been an absolute pleasure. I know that this is going to really resonate with so many people. As I say, whether it's people that have moved countries or those that have maybe found themselves in environments where they may be a minority or don't see so many people that look the same way as them or are from the same background of them. So I know that this is going to help so many. So thank you so much for your time today. It's been a
It was
pleasure.
really a pleasure because when you say something out loud, you also understand more and you go into further depth. So that develops me as well. So I really appreciate it.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you.